What if your friendly neighborhood clown was hiding a sinister secret? A chilling proposition, isn't it? But in the case of John Wayne Gacy, this wasn't just a hypothetical question. This was a stark, terrifying reality. John Wayne Gacy. The name might not ring a bell immediately. An unassuming man, he was just like any other citizen in his community. A successful businessman by day, a beloved clown at children's parties by night. He was known for his jovial nature, his larger-than-life personality, and his ability to bring a smile to the faces of both children and adults alike. A seemingly ordinary man leading an ordinary life. But as we'll soon discover, appearances can be deceiving. Behind this facade of normalcy, Gacy was harboring a secret so dark, so horrifying, it would send shockwaves through the community and the entire nation. A secret that would make the very name John Wayne Gacy synonymous with pure, unadulterated evil. As we delve further into the story, remember this: not everything is as it seems. The man who could make children laugh was also capable of making their parents' worst nightmares come true. The friendly neighborhood clown, the successful businessman, the man who was seemingly as ordinary as they come, was anything but ordinary. Imagine this: a man respected and loved in his community, a man who would go out of his way to bring joy to others, a man who seemed as harmless as a clown could be. But behind this illusion of normality, behind the laughter and the smiles, behind the clown makeup, hid a monster. A monster capable of unspeakable horrors, a monster who preyed on the innocent, a monster who, for years, managed to fly under the radar, unnoticed and unsuspected. But beneath the cheerful clown makeup, a monster was lurking. A chilling thought, isn't it? But for the unfortunate victims of John Wayne Gacy, this wasn't just a thought, it was a horrifying reality. A reality that we'll explore further as we delve deeper into the dark and twisted tale of John Wayne Gacy. Born in 1942, John Wayne Gacy on the surface was just like any other American. Raised in the heartland of Chicago, Illinois, he was the second of 3 children in a blue-collar family. His childhood, however, was far from idyllic. Struggling with an abusive father and his own emerging identity, young Gacy faced trials that would mark the beginning of a dark path. Despite these early obstacles, Gacy managed to carve out a seemingly successful life for himself. He dove headfirst into a career in construction, eventually establishing his own company, PDM Contractors, in the early 70s. He was a man of ambition, a man who strove for success, and to the outside world, he appeared to have it all. But Gacy's life wasn't just about business. He was also a dedicated community servant. His charitable works were well known, and he was particularly fond of dressing up as a clown for local children's parties. He was Pogo the Clown, a character he created himself, bringing joy and laughter to young faces. This earned him a reputation as a man who cared, a man who was involved, a man who was, in every sense, a pillar of the community. Yet this outward appearance of normality and success was just that, an appearance. Gacy was a master at playing the part, at wearing the mask of a typical, successful American man. He understood the power of perception, and he used it to his advantage. He knew that beneath the veneer of respectability, he could hide his true self and his darkest secrets. However, behind this mask of normality, a sinister plot was brewing, a plot that would shatter the illusion of the affable businessman and community servant, revealing a horrifying reality that would shock the nation and etch his name into the annals of true crime history. In 1972, Gacy's life took a horrifying turn. It was in this year that Gacy committed his first known murder, a grim foreshadowing of the monstrous acts that would follow. The victim was a teenage boy named Timothy McCoy, whom Gacy lured into his home with promises of a place to stay. The story took a chilling twist when Gacy claimed the murder was in self-defense, a tale the authorities initially believed. But this was just the beginning. Gacy developed a horrifying modus operandi, luring young boys and young men into his home with promises of work or a simple friendly gesture. Once they were within his grasp, Gacy would overpower them, subject them to unspeakable acts, and ultimately end their lives. His victims ranged from runaways to unsuspecting kids from his neighborhood, and even some of his own employees. As if this wasn't chilling enough, Gacy added an even more terrifying layer to his crimes. He often used his alter ego, Pogo the Clown, as a tool to gain trust and access to his victims. He would perform at children's parties and charity events, using the guise of a friendly, jovial clown to hide his true, malevolent nature. This was a calculated and sinister move, designed to draw in his victims and disarm any suspicions they might have had. The number of victims grew steadily, each one adding to the grim tally. Over the span of 6 years, Gacy would murder at least 33 young men and boys, each crime more horrifying than the last. The world was oblivious to the nightmare unfolding in the heartland of America. Through his crimes, Gacy transformed the image of the clown from a symbol of joy and laughter to one of fear and dread. The once beloved character of children's parties became associated with a serial killer's gruesome acts, a cruel perversion of innocence. And so, the clown became a figure of terror. In 1978, the horrifying truth emerged. The year that would forever change the perception of an everyday neighbor, a friend, a clown who brought joy to many. As layers of deception began to peel away, the local police embarked on an investigation that would lead them to a chilling revelation. John Wayne Gacy, a man known for his jovial demeanor and community involvement, became a person of interest. The police, acting on a hunch, decided to explore his property. The shocking discovery was made beneath the very foundations of Gacy's home. The ground, which had once hosted cheerful garden parties and neighborhood gatherings, was revealed to be a gruesome burial ground. The police unearthed a horrifying collection of bodies, all young boys who had mysteriously disappeared over the years. The very earth seemed to shudder in repulsion as the grim reality came to light. As the news of the gruesome discovery spread, disbelief washed over the community. People struggled to reconcile the image of the friendly clown with the monstrous reality that was unfolding. The man who had once been a source of laughter and joy was now the embodiment of their darkest fears. The shock was palpable, the betrayal unimaginable. The man who had been a pillar of the community was arrested. The friendly face that had graced many a children's party was replaced by the cold, emotionless mugshot of a ruthless killer. The clown makeup, once a symbol of joy, now seemed to hide a sinister secret. The police continued their investigation, delving deeper into the life of Gacy. Each new piece of evidence painted a horrific picture of a man who had managed to live a double life, deceiving those around him while committing unspeakable acts of violence. And so, the story of John Wayne Gacy took a dark turn. Beneath the facade of a friendly neighborhood clown lay a horrifying secret. The friendly clown was, in fact, a ruthless serial killer. John Wayne Gacy's story is a chilling reminder of the evil that can hide behind a friendly face. As the curtain fell on the gruesome spectacle of his life, the trial of John Wayne Gacy took center stage. The evidence was overwhelming, the details of his crimes too horrific to comprehend. Gacy was charged with the murder of 33 young men, their lives cut tragically short in a reign of terror that lasted 6 years. The trial was a media frenzy, the public gripped by the unfolding horror of Gacy's deeds. The courtroom became a theater of the grotesque as each piece of evidence was presented, each more shocking than the last. The prosecution painted a picture of a man who had not only committed unspeakable acts but reveled in his monstrous nature. When the guilty verdict was delivered, there was a collective sigh of relief. The monster had been unmasked, his reign of terror ended. But for the families of the victims, the pain was far from over. They were left with a void that could never be filled, their lives forever marked by the shadow of Gacy's crimes. Gacy was sentenced to death, a punishment that seemed almost too lenient for such a prolific killer. He spent 14 years on death row, his execution in 1994 bringing a grim closure to his macabre tale. The name John Wayne Gacy is now synonymous with the very worst of humanity. His crimes have left an indelible mark on American criminal history, a stark reminder of the depths to which a person can sink. His story has seeped into our collective consciousness, a nightmare that continues to haunt us. But it is the victims who must never be forgotten. Their lives, so cruelly taken, serve as a reminder of the human cost of such evil. They are the true tragedy in the tale of John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown, remains one of the most notorious serial killers in American history.